Is your ladyship at home this afternoon?
Yes. Who has called?
Lord Darlington, my lady.
Send him up. And I'm at home to anyone who calls.
Yes, my lady.
It is best for me to see him before tonight. I am glad that he has come.
Lord Darlington. You do, Lady Windermere?
How do you do, Lord Darlington? Oh, no, I can't shake hands with you. My hands are all wet with these roses. They're lovely, aren't they? They've just come up from Selby this morning.
Quite perfect. And what a wonderful fan. May I look at it?
Do. Pretty, isn't it? It's got my name on it and everything. I've only just seen it myself. It is my husband's birthday present to me. You know, today is my birthday.
Is it really?
Yes. I'm of age today. Quite an important day in my life, isn't it? Do sit down.
Wish I'd known it was your birthday, Lady Windermere. Why, I know I would have covered the whole street in front of your house with flowers for you to walk on. Why, they're made for you.
Lord Darlington, you annoyed me last night at the Foreign Office, and I'm afraid you are going to annoy me again.
I, Lady Windermere?
Put it there, Parker. That will do. Won't you come over, Lord Darlington?
Quite miserable, Lady Windermere. You must tell me what I've done.
Well, you kept paying me elaborate compliments the whole evening.
Nowadays, so many of us are so hard up that the only things we can pay are compliments. Why, they're the only things we can afford.
No, I am talking very seriously. You mustn't laugh. I am quite serious. I don't like compliments. And I don't see why a man should think that he is pleasing a woman enormously when he says to her a whole heap of things that he does not mean.
Ah, I did mean them.
I hope not. I should be very sorry to have to quarrel with you, Lord Darlington. I like you very much, and you know that. But I shouldn't like you at all if I thought you were what most other men are. Believe me, you are better than most other men. But I sometimes think that you pretend to be worse.
We all have our little vanities, Lady Windermere.
Why do you make that your special one?
Nowadays, so many conceited people go about society pretending to be good that I think it shows a rather sweet and modest disposition to pretend to be bad. Besides, there's this to be said. If you pretend to be good, the world takes you very seriously. If you pretend to be bad, it doesn't. Such is the astounding stupidity of optimism.
Don't you want the world to take you seriously then, Lord Darlington?
No, who are the ones that the world takes seriously? All the dull ones one can think of, from the bishops down to the boors. Why, I should like you to take me very seriously, Lady Windermere. You, more than anyone else in life.
Why me?
Because I think we could be great friends. Oh, do let us be friends. You may want a friend.
Why do you say that?
Oh, we all want friends at times.
I think that we are very good friends already, Lord Darlington. We can always remain so, as long as you don't
What?
Don't spoil it by saying extravagant, silly things to me. You think I'm a Puritan, I suppose? Well, I have something of the Puritan in me. I was brought up like that. I am glad of it. My mother died when I was a mere child. I lived always with Lady Julia, my father's eldest sister, you know. She was stern to me, but she taught me what the world is forgetting. The difference that there is between what is right and what is wrong. She allowed of no compromise. I allow of none.
Dear Lady Windermere.
You look on me as being behind the age. Well, I am. I should be very sorry to be on the same level as an age like this.
You think the age very bad?
Yes. Nowadays, people seem to look on life as if it were a speculation. It is not a speculation. It is a sacrament. Its ideal is love. Its purification is sacrifice.
Anything is better than being sacrificed.
Don't say that.
I do say it. I know it. I feel it.
The men want to know if they are to put the carpets out on the terrace for tonight, my lady.
You don't think it will rain, do you, Lord Darlington?
I won't hear if it's raining on your birthday.
Tell the men to do it at once, Parker.
Do you think, then, Of course, I'm only putting an imaginary instance. Do you think that in the case of a young married couple, say about 2 years married, if the husband suddenly becomes the intimate friend of a woman of more than doubtful character, is always calling upon her, lunching with her, and probably paying her bills, do you think that the wife should not console herself?
Console herself?
Well, yes, I think she should. I think she has the right.
Because the husband is vile, should the wife be vile also?
Vileness is a terrible word, Lady Windermere.
It is a terrible thing, Lord Darlington.
Do you know, I'm afraid that good people do a great deal of harm in the world. Certainly, the greatest harm that they do is that they make badness of such extraordinary importance. Why, it's absurd to divide people into good and bad. Why, people are either charming or tedious. Why, I take the side of charming, and you, Lady Windermere, can't help belonging to them.
Lord Darlington, don't stir. I'm merely going to finish my flowers.
I must say, I think you're very hard on modern life, Lady Windermere. Since there's much against it these days, most women nowadays are rather mercenary.
Don't talk of such people.
Say, mercenary people aside, who are, of course, dreadful, do you seriously think that women who have committed what the world calls a fault should never be forgiven?
I think that they should never be forgiven.
And men? Do you think that there should be the same laws for men as there are for women?
Absolutely.
Life is too complex a thing to be settled by these hard and fast rules.
If we had these hard and fast rules, we should find life much more simple.
You allow of no exception.
None.
Fascinating Puritan you are, Lady Windermere.
The adjective was unnecessary, Lord Darlington.
I can resist everything except temptation.
You have the modern affectation of weakness.
It's only an affectation, Lady Windermere.
The Duchess of Berwick and Lady Agatha Carlisle.
Margaret, how nice to see you. You remember Agatha, don't you? Oh, and Lord Darlington, how do you do? No, you shall not know my daughter, for you are far too wicked.
Oh, don't say that, Duchess. Why, as a wicked man, I'm a complete failure. Why, there's a lot of people who say I've never done anything wrong in the whole course of my life. Of course, they only say it behind my back.
You are dreadful. Agatha, this is Lord Darlington. Mind you, don't believe a word he says. Oh, no tea, thank you, dear. We had tea this afternoon at Lady Markby's. Such bad tea. It was totally undrinkable. But I'm not surprised. It's her son-in-law who supplies her. Oh, Agatha is looking forward to your ball this evening.
Oh, you mustn't think it is going to be a ball, Duchess. It is only a dance in honor of my birthday. Small and early.
Very small, very early, very select, Duchess.
Oh, no, of course it's select. We all know that, Margaret, about your house. Why, it's one of the few places in London I can bring Agatha and still feel perfectly secure about dear Barrett. I don't know what this world is coming to. The most dreadful people show up everywhere. Why, at least they all come to my parties, and the men get so angry if you don't invite them. Oh, someone should make a stand against it.
I will, Duchess. I will not allow anyone in my house about whom there is any scandal.
Don't say that, Lady Windermere. Why, I should never be admitted.
Oh, men don't matter. With women, it's different. We're good. Well, at least some of us are. But we're getting positively elbowed into the corners. Why, our husbands would forget our existence if we didn't, from time to time, nag them, simply to remind them that we have a perfect legal right to do so.
It's a curious thing, Duchess, about the game of marriage. A game which, by the way, is going out of fashion. Why, the wives hold all the honors and invariably lose the odd trick.
The odd Trick, Lord Darlington. Is that the husband?
Certainly would be a good name for the modern husband.
Lord Darlington, you are thoroughly depraved.
Lord Darlington is trivial.
Don't say that, Lady Windermere.
Why do you talk so trivially about life then?
Because I think that life is far too important a thing to ever talk seriously about it.
What does he mean? Lord Darlington, please, as a concession to my poor wit, just tell me what you really mean.
I think I'd better not, Duchess. Why, nowadays to be intelligible is to be found out. Goodbye. Now, goodbye, Lady Windermere. I may come tonight, mayn't I? Do let me come.
Yes, certainly. But you are not to say foolish, insincere things to people.
Beginning to reform me, Lady Windermere? Why, it's a dangerous thing to reform anyone. Lady Windermere?
What a charming, wicked creature he is. I like him so much. I'm so delighted he's gone. Margaret, pretty look. Where do you get your gowns?
Well,
now I have to tell you, dear, how sorry I am for you. Agatha?
Yes,
Would you
Mama?
like to take a look at that photograph album I see over there on the table?
Yes, Mama.
Such a dear girl. She so loves her pictures of Switzerland. I think it shows a purity of taste. But I am sorry for you, Margaret.
Why, Duchess?
On account of that horrid woman. And she dresses so well, too. Which makes it all that much the worse because it sets a bad example. Augustus, my thoroughly depraved brother, is absolutely fascinated about her. And it just won't do. She is not admissible into society anywhere. Like, any woman can have a past, but she has at least a dozen, and I'm told they all fit.
Who are you talking about, Duchess?
Mrs. Erlin.
Mrs. Erlin. I've never heard of her, Duchess. Why do you talk to me about this person?
Agatha dear.
Yes, Mama.
Would you like to step out on the terrace and watch the sunset?
Yes, Mama.
Oh, darling girl, she loves her sunsets. I think that shows a generosity of feeling, and there's nothing like nature, is there?
What is it, Duchess? Why do you talk to me about this person?
You really don't know. Oh, last night at Lady Jensen's, we were all saying how extraordinary it was that a man like Windermere could behave in such a way.
My husband? What has he got to do with any woman of that kind?
Oh, what indeed. He goes to see her continually. He stays for hours. And while he is there, she is home to no one. Not that any ladies ever call upon her, but she has quite a list of disreputable male callers. That's what makes it so very sad about Windermere. We've always looked upon him as being a model husband. But I assure you, it's quite true. The Saddle girls, they're my nieces. You know them. They're so good, domestic, plain, dreadfully plain, but so good. Well, they sit at their big window all day and do fancy work and make ugly things for the poor, which is really so very useful of them in these socialistic times. Well, it seems this woman has taken a home across the street from them directly on Curzon Street. And it's always been such a respectable street, too. But they tell me that Windermere goes there 4 and 5 times a week. And they see him. They can't help it. And although they never talk scandal, well, they do mention it to everybody. But that's not the worst. The worst is, it seems that this woman has gotten a great deal of money from someone in London since she came. 6 months ago, she had nothing. And now she has this lovely home in Mayfair, drives her ponies in the park every afternoon, and all since she's known poor dear Windermere.
No, Duchess, I can't believe it.
Oh, but it's true, and all of London knows it. There is nothing else I can tell you except go away. You need to take this man out of town. I had to come and tell you this. You need to go to Hamburg or X or Someplace where he has something he enjoys doing and you can keep an eye on him all day long. I remember when I was first married to Varick, I had to pretend to be dreadfully ill. And then I was obliged to drink the most disgusting mineral waters just to get Varick out of town. He was so susceptible. Though I do have to say, he never gave anybody any large sums of money. He was far too high-principled for that.
Duchess, it's impossible. We are only married 2 years. Our child is but 6 months old.
Oh, the pretty little baby. How is the little darling? Is it a boy or a girl? I hope it's a girl. No, it's a boy. I'm so sorry. Boys are so wicked. My own son is so immoral. You would not believe the hours he comes in at night. And he's only down from Oxford a few weeks. I don't know what they teach them up there.
Are all men bad?
Oh, everyone without exception. And they never get any better. Men become old, but they never become good.
Windermere and I married for love.
Well, of course, dear, we all begin that way. Why, if it weren't for Varick's brutal and incessant threats of suicide, I never would have considered him at all. And barely a year into the marriage, and I found him chasing petticoats. Every size, every shape, every color, every material. As a matter of fact, before our honeymoon was over, I caught him winking at my personal maid. Oh, she was such a pretty, respectable girl. But I dismissed her without a character. No, I didn't. I passed her on to my sister. I thought with Sir George's eyesight being so short it wouldn't make a difference. But it did, though. Most unfortunate. Well, now, dear, we have to be going because we're dining out this evening. And don't take this aberration of Windermere's too much to heart. You just take him abroad and he'll come back to you.
Come back to me.
Well, yes, these wicked women get our men away from us, but they always come back. Slightly damaged. And don't make a scene and hate them.
It is very kind of you, Duchess, to come and tell me all of this. But I can't believe that my husband has been untrue to me.
Poor dear thing. I used to believe that too, but now I know all men are monsters. There's nothing to do but feed the wretches well. A good cook goes a long way, and that I know you have. You're not going to cry, are you, Margaret?
You needn't be afraid, Duchess. I never cry.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, tears are the refuge of a plain woman, but they are the ruin of pretty ones. Agatha, come say goodbye to Lady Windermere and thank her for your charming visit. Oh, and I have to thank you for sending a card to Mr. Hopper. He's that wealthy young Australian that all of London is talking about just now. His father earned his fortune selling some kind of food in little round tins. Most palatable, I believe. Though I believe it's the one thing these servants will never eat. But the young man is quite interesting, and he's attracted to Agatha, I think, because of her clever chatter. Of course, we shall be very sorry to lose Agatha. But I think a mother who doesn't give up a child every season just has no affection whatsoever. Oh, well, we're coming tonight, dear. And you take my advice and take that man out of town. Goodbye again, dear. Come, Agatha.
How horrible. I know now what Lord Darlington meant by the imaginary instance of the couple not 2 years married. It's impossible. She spoke of enormous sums of money being paid to this woman. I know where Arthur keeps his bank book. In the drawer of that desk. I might find out by that. I will find out. No. No, it is some hideous mistake. Some silly scandal. He loves me. He loves me. Why should I not look? I am his wife. I have a right to look. as I thought. There's not a word of truth in this silly story. A second book. Private. Locked. Mrs. Erlin, 600 pounds. Mrs. Erlin, 700 pounds. Mrs. Erlin, 400 pounds. Oh, it is true. It is true. How horrible!
Margaret, has the fan been delivered? Margaret, you have cut open my bank book. You have no right to do such a thing.
You think it wrong that you've been found out, don't you?
You think it wrong that a wife should spy on her husband.
I did not spy on you. I didn't even know of this woman's existence till half an hour ago. Someone who pitied me was kind enough to tell me what everyone in London knows already. Your daily visits to Curzon Street, your mad infatuation, the monstrous sums of money you squander on this infamous woman.
Margaret, don't say that of Mrs. Erlin. You don't know how unjust it is.
You are very jealous of Mrs. Erlin's honor. I wish you had been as jealous of mine.
Your honor remains untouched. You can't imagine that
I think that you spend your money strangely. That is all. Don't imagine I mind about the money. As far as I am concerned, you may squander everything we have. But what I do mind is that you who have loved me, you who have taught me to love you, should pass from the love that is given to the love that is bought. It's horrible. And it is I who feel degraded. You don't feel anything. I feel stained. Utterly stained. You can't imagine how hideous the past 6 months seem to me now. Every kiss you have given me is tainted in my memory.
Margaret, don't say that. I have never loved anyone in the whole world but you.
Who is this woman then? Why did you take a house for her?
I did not take a house for her.
You gave her the money to do it, which is the same thing.
Margaret, as long as I've known Mrs. Erlin.
Is there a Mr. Erlin, or is he a myth?
He died many years ago. She is alone in the world.
No relations?
None.
Rather curious, isn't it?
Margaret, as I was saying, and I beg you to listen to me. As far as I've known Mrs. Erlin, she has conducted herself well. If years
I
ago...
don't want details about her life.
Child, I am not going to give you details about her life. I tell you simply this. Mrs. Erlin was once loved, honored, respected. She was well born. She had a position. She lost everything. So throw it away if you like. That makes it all the more bitter. Misfortunes one can endure, they come from outside, they're accidents. But to suffer for one's own faults, that's the sting of life. It was 20 years ago, too. She had been little more than a child. She's been a wife for even less time than you have.
I am not interested in her. And you should not mention this woman and me in the same breath. It is an error of taste.
Margaret, you could save this woman. Do this for me. She needs you. She wants to get back into society, and she wants you to help her.
Me?
Yes, you.
How impertinent of her.
Margaret, I came here to ask a great favor of you. Even though you have discovered what I had intended you to never have known, that I have given Mrs. Erlin a large sum of money. I want you to invite her to our party tonight.
You are mad.
I entreat you. People may chatter about her, do chatter about her, of course, but they don't do the first thing against her. She has been to several houses, not the houses where you may go, but the houses where women, or what is considered society, do go to. That does not content her. She wants you to receive her once.
As a triumph for her, I suppose.
No, because she knows you are a good woman. And if she comes here just once, she will have a chance of a sure life. Won't you help someone who's trying to get back?
No. If society that has made or seen her ruin. I'm going to dress for dinner tonight. And don't mention the subject again this evening.